Hey everyone, it's been a very long time since I posted a video, and I was just sitting here kind of taking a light lunch break. I'll show you where I'm working. It's pretty sweet. Oh, can I not turn it around? Hopefully you can see it. That's the Selkirk Mountains covered in smoke there. We got a forest fire over there. If you can see that smoke. Of course, a couple weeks ago we were evacuated, and then over here is the other mountain range, Cabinet Mountains. And south of here is where I live, about 30 minutes. And doing a fence around this property here, this pasture. So, beautiful place to work, and up in North Idaho. But just had some interesting thoughts. There's actually some polygamists up the road. Several very large homes built, you can tell, for that type of lifestyle, and everybody knows they're there. And in fact, one of my sons worked with one of the polygamists around here, and he called himself a Mormon, and he had his Book of Mormon and everything, and they believed in that. And so super interesting. I mean, kind of ironic. I was disfellowshipped and excommunicated about 5 years ago, disfellowshipped about 6 years ago from right now. Excommunicated, so 5 and 6 year anniversaries. So it's had me thinking about those events, and and I was the irony that the polygamists are up here is that I was excommunicated in disfellowship for believing Joseph Smith that he was not a polygamist, and then writing about the things that I found in church approved resources in the Joseph Smith papers, where you can see that it had been doctored and changed to make it look like he had the keys, for example, for polygamy and plural marriage, spiritual wifery, whatever they wanted to call it back then, and several other things. And now we move up here 8-9 hours north of Boise area, and there's actually people practicing that. So that's really just ironic. And I laugh, but it's actually really sad because of all the things I've discovered, and many are discovering as they go to their church history or their family histories and read about these women and the lives that they lived. It's very interesting. Ever since I wrote, since I wrote, there's been a lot of really good material come out that I just want to highly recommend. Rob Fotheringham's videos, I may have mentioned him before. It's Fotheringham, Fotheringham, Rob Fotheringham. His videos on YouTube are phenomenal. On our trip up here, when we were moving up here, I was just contemplating, like, is this all worth it? Super heartbroken. Felt like I lost my family, friends, church, culture, everything. I mean, the whole world was turned around. And came across his first video, was Joseph or Brigham, the First Polygamist. I think this is the title, something like that. Listened to it on one of the moving trips up here, and was in tears, just really grateful that he had some more information and similar information, but very spelled out, and he showed documents in his videos and everything so he could see it. And he worked for the church, maybe still does, so he had access to everything firsthand. So his videos are really good. Still Mormon has come out, like Still, Still, Mormon. Jeremy Hoop, he's an actor for the church. In the Testaments movie, he was the main actor there that was carving for Jacob, the Antichrist, and then had a miraculous conversion and came into Christ. That's Jeremy Hoop. He's taken a dive into this stuff and has some incredible information too. He's got a great team. In fact, I think Rob Fotheringham works with him on some of the projects. Whitney Horning works with them too. Whitney Horning's book has come out. That's Whitney and then Horning, Horning. Her book is phenomenal. I haven't read it actually. It came out a year or plus since I was disfellowshipped, excommunicated, and I just had moved on from polygamy, but now I just keep seeing stuff come up, and I've listened, and I'm just amazed at all the good stuff out there. And just more and more accurate records, and more people seeing the need to understand this. And just to reiterate, like, I don't think anybody that really thinks seriously about this can avoid the subject. I mean, the church, section 132, if it was true, it's very clear in the Brigham sermons especially that any man that wants to be exalted would have to enter into this order of the priesthood of polygamy, and which I don't believe is true, but that would mean that eventually any of you who live today, contemporary members of the church, would have to wrestle with that. If they were commanded to go take another wife, how would they feel about that, and how would their wife feel about that? And living in the same house, knowing what's going on in the bedroom next door, and you're one of 30 or one of 15, one of 10, one of 2. I mean, it's... Really think about it. Like, is that really the God that is talked about in Jacob 2, that is concerned about the tender, chaste, and delicate feelings of his daughters? And is that congruent? And is it the same God? Or is there some other false spirit that has crept in and possessed Brigham and others that that were the ones that introduced this fornication and adultery into the church, and then made it a sacrament? And how does it affect your family, and how does it affect your relationship with your wife? Like, the men, like, is your wife wholly committed to you, and are you wholly committed to her? Are your thoughts completely to her, not thinking about, man, if I'm just righteous enough, then you will have all these wives? And even if it's a spiritual thing, like taking care of multiple families, like, which I think would be crazy. But even if it's a noble thing, is your heart one? Are you one heart and one mind with your wife? Are you Zion with her? And can you possibly be? When it's so contradictory to other commandments that are, even to look after another woman and lust after her hath committed adultery already in his heart, out of Jesus' words. Can you honestly do that if you're open to the idea of having another wife? And then, of course, I mean, I've said all this before, but Replicus, she was condemned for whoredoms and concubines, multiple wives. King Noah is condemned for multiple wives. Jacob chapter 2 and 3 in context, reading the whole thing, the Lord led people out. Rob Fotheringham has a great video about the historical significance of that. King Zedekiah and others, at the time that Lehi was brought out, the Lord said he brought them out so they could follow his commandments and have one wife. And some really neat information in that video. And then and really, if you just think about it and look at the scriptures, which he does, and just shows you that the Lord led them out so that they could follow the Lord with their whole hearts, with one wife. And so anyways, it's worth it. These 5 or 6 years that we've gone through have been totally worth it. I feel a lot of peace. The Lord said the truth shall set you free. The truth does set us free. And the women that have discovered the evil of this practice, and that it's not from God, and the relief and the peace and the love I feel too, even as a man, towards God, to know, like, no, he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He's not going to test you to see if you're going to lie to your... I mean, if the church's narrative about Joseph Smith is true, he's a liar, he's an adulterer, he's a hypocrite, he lied to the whole church. Like, there's no way. And there is absolutely no way he was a liar. Emma swore to it, he swore to it. All the contemporary witnesses when he was alive were all for him telling the truth. Again, only after he died, I think it was in the 1850s, Brigham introduced Section 132, even in the Doctrine and Covenants 1835 edition, and then the 1844 edition, which was being prepared when he was murdered, had section 101, which is the law of marriage, which said because of the rumors about fornication and polygamy, we have this section in here, and then it goes on to say that one man and one woman is a lawful marriage before God. And it's a little bit frustrating to me that my friends and family and other ward members, stake members, aren't willing to go look at this and really think deeply about this. I hope they do sometime. I get it though. I mean, it took me a year. Once I had someone show me or tell me that Joseph wasn't polygamous, it took me a year just to get past Jacob 2, because I thought that, I think it's verse 30, I thought was the exception clause. And then when I read that blog post by One Climbs, an author named One Climbs, I've got it in my, I think I've got it in my very first post on my blog where I cited him. This is super influential to help me understand that, because it was so in my body, my mind, my heart, everything, that was how the Lord dealt with that, and that's why he could command it. But once that veil was taken from my mind and heart, it was like, oh wow, this is crazy. That kind of, and then when I saw how the Joseph Smith papers showed what Joseph really had said, and then it had been crossed out and rewritten in different handwriting, and then Saints, when I saw how they quoted John C. Bennett, who was an adulterer, who'd gone around telling people that Joseph had given polygamy to take multiple wives and have sexual relations. And then Joseph confronts him in the street and he says, hey, Bennett, you know that I haven't done these things, I haven't taught these things. And John C. Bennett says, yes, you're right, Joseph, you have not. And Joseph listed out the things, and polygamy is one of them. And then when the Saints was written, the church quoted that quote, and they took out the word polygamy. And it's in the footnote. You can go to the footnote and go to the actual quote, and then you can see the real quote that does have polygamy in there. Because the church knows, the church historians are apologists for the church, and their paycheck comes from the church, their culture, their world, their extended family. Everything hinges on polygamy. Like, it's really, really interesting. The keys that are supposedly passed down from a man to a man, it all hinges on polygamy. If it's true that Brigham was the one that introduced polygamy, and it wasn't from God, and it was from Brigham, not God instructing Brigham, then the church has no line of authority that they've preached for hundreds of years, over 100 years now. And then, yes, there's a bunch of things to think about and study about, and opens a whole can of worms. And I think that's why most people just would prefer to put their head in the sand and not think about it deeply. But I honestly don't think it's that deep of a thought. I mean, the one man with multiple wives just doesn't feel right. I mean, it doesn't take much contemplation to think about that. There's a lot that is so, in my view, very messed up with that. And yes, God's thoughts are not our thoughts, his ways are not our ways. But when he commands one wife multiple times in the Doctrine and Covenants, and like I said, in 1835, 1844 edition, 1835 edition, a section devoted to one man and one woman because of the rumor of polygamy, that should be enough. And then now, I think it's section 142 where it still says one man, one wife. One man and one woman. And again, the three witnesses in the Book of Mormon, Ripple, King Noah, and Jacob 2 and 3. There's still a lot more we could talk about, but these videos, I would just highly recommend Still Mormon and Rob Fotheringham, and go through all those. If you spent 6 hours in each one of those authors, just driving around town, driving to work and back, going on your next vacation, and you still, and you pray and ask God, I'd love to have a conversation with you. But I really think that is the obvious answer, is it's just too much to think about. People have seen people like me leave the church or get kicked out of the church, and then they feel like they just go off the deep end, and so they're scared to contemplate this subject. But when Jesus said, you know, he who's not worthy or not willing to forsake father and mother, husband or wife, something like, I can't remember all of it, for my name's sake is not worthy of me, I think he's being very serious. And if our culture or our family means more to us than the truth, following God and his living his commandments, endorsing his commandments, a false belief is unbelief, because you cannot exercise faith, as Joseph taught, without a correct idea of the character, perfections, and attributes of God. And if we believe in a dual God that commands one man to take many wives and the other to have only one wife, and it's adultery to even look at another woman, then it is very difficult, if not, I'd say impossible, to exercise faith in that person, because they're changing. And so you kind of live in this shattered world where your faith is hindered, and you struggle to know what your relationship is with God, if he can change like that. So anyways, I'm just kind of babbling a bit, but I hope you'll take some time in those. They're way more professional than a guy sitting on his trailer working on a fence talking. They actually show the documents and cite them, and I'm just very grateful that there are others doing great work to help shed light. I mean, there's a section in the Doctrine and Covenants where it says we should waste and wear our lives and bring into light all the hidden things of darkness, wherein they lie in wait to deceive, and the deception of polygamy is a big one. And I can guarantee you, well, I shouldn't say that, but I would highly believe that the relationship with you and your wife, with you and your husband, would greatly be increased if you can give your whole heart and soul to one another in every way. Mind, heart, body, spirit, knowing that you are holy for each other, and you are in a very special union that only you two will enjoy with each other. And like Jeremy Hoop's last interview he had, they brought this up. I thought it was so good. Like, that is Zion, right? Zion is to be of one heart, one mind, dwell in righteousness, with no poor among us. And if a husband and wife are not of one heart and one mind, and knowing the other one will only share sacred experiences with them, physically in the bedroom, spiritually with their soul, with their heart, with their mind, everything. Just, if they don't have that confidence, then how can you give yourself completely to someone else? So once we can do that and have Zion in our marriages, be of one heart, one mind, then we can go to our family, and then we can go to our communities, and then we can heal a nation and seek the face of the Lord. And even if you've had special experiences with the Lord in the church, he's not done with us, right? If you haven't been translated, he's not done with you. And there's more to learn. And I've had extremely spiritual experiences in the church. The most spiritual experience I've ever had was in the church. When I was a faithful member of the church, thinking I was following the Lord by following the brethren. And the Lord didn't give up on me, snatched me from that. I still don't know how that happened. I was so in the church because I had seen so many wonderful fruits. But when I saw what he was trying to teach me, I still see great fruits in the church. I see great fruits in other churches, and I see better fruit in me and my family, because the truth shall set you free. And Jesus is the way to live, the way to experience family. He's the truth, and He's the life. And so anything short of that is an adulteration of Him, and no one can exercise true faith in Him without truly knowing who He is and what He teaches. So anyways, love you all. Hope you're having a good day, and I hope you'll take this invitation seriously, and especially like my friends, but my old buddies in high school and my extended family. I would just love for them to go to these things, because it shows the sources, and the sources of the sources, not just a church historian that's quoting another church historian, or quoting Brigham Young, who said he heard some secret discussion with Joseph, and he's reminiscing 30 years in the past. And anyways, okay, I'll sign off. See ya.